Yo, what is up, guys? It's your boy Bronny here, giving you yet another video here on the channel, giving you the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. And today, guys, we've got to talk more about the basketball opinion sides, as ESPN has officially released its 2023 top 25 ESPN ranks. Now, of course, this includes many great players like Mikey Williams, who I've heard a lot about, DJ Wagner, who I've also heard a lot about, and also Jalen Lewis, which is a little bit here and there. Just being part of the whole basketball world, you kind of hear about these players and kind of wonder, and you're curious about how they're going to perform, especially when they go to college or they go the other routes, which is, of course, overseas, or maybe even going to the G League itself when they become seniors. Now, another player on this list that's getting recognition, and the reason why I made this video, is because Bronny James is officially on the top 25 list for 2023 class. Now, we know that Bronny James has about 3 more years left in high school to really make a name for himself, and I think he will. Because the problem at Sierra Canyon is that it was a very older or like more senior, junior heavy team. I mean, we look, for example, guys like Brandon Boston Jr. who's going to an elite program. We got guys like Zaire Williams also going there, and then you got Zaire Wade, who didn't really, he was a guy that transferred over there just to play with Bronny, but he didn't really play that much either, and that's the reason why he's going to a college preparatory school. There's a lot of great older players on this roster that, of course, Bronny wasn't really going to shine and be more of a complimentary player to these older players. Bronny right now is 6'2", 175. I think he's going to grow into his grown man body in the next couple of years. It's going to take a while for Bronny, I think, just because I think LeBron James, the way that he kind of started out in high school was kind of, I don't know how to put it. It's like it was a high plateau. It was a high ceiling for LeBron James because he was already in his grown man body by the time he was a freshman in high school. But now that Bronny James is getting into that grown man body as he continues to work on his game, he's playing a lot more Twitch now, enjoying that community. But nevertheless, I think when it comes to guys like Bronny, it's gonna have to be a wait and see, because this top 25, there's a lot of players on here that I have yet to watch. The only guys I've really watched is Mikey Williams and DJ Wagner. I think DJ Wagner is pretty good, but I think I like Mikey Williams just a little bit more than DJ Wagner. But nevertheless, I think LeBron James' son Bronny can do a very good thing. And I think now it's time to kind of separate LeBron James and Bronny and kind of have Bronny be his own guy. I think that's the next step for Bronny, to kind of step out of his dad's shadow and perform very well at Sierra Canyon. It's the reason why I think that Bronny chose Sierra Canyon, is because he knows that after this year, it's going to be on him. Crossroads, he was going to have to share the spotlight with Shaquille O'Neal's son. There's just a bunch of other different things, and we know that Sierra Canyon probably recruited Bronny to come play there. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, because he was originally, like I said, he was going to go to Crossroads, play there, but instead he ended up going to Sierra Canyon. Now, the question for me is going to be, what is the expectation? What is the ceiling for Bronny James? Can he be like his father? Can he be even greater than his father? That, to me, is going to have to be a wait and see. Although I hate the fact that people are recruiting at this young of age, I think you have to wait until they're juniors, I feel like, to really fully understand and develop and grow these players. You can be like, okay, let's take a look at this player when he gets older and kind of mark him in terms of like, okay, these are players to watch for the upcoming years. But I think ranking them as young as 5th grade just does a tremendous kind of psychological damage to these kids, because when you're ranked top 100 in your class at the age of in 5th grade, when you're not even 10 years old yet, or maybe you're close to that age, I'm trying to remember that. I think it just puts a lot of pressure on these kids to perform better. It puts pressure on the kids to kind of, do things that they normally wouldn't do, go extra hard, not really invest in other sports. Because I feel like, to me, and this might go into a branched off topic, which I feel like a lot of these kids need to play different sports, in my opinion. The reason why I think they need to play different sports is because different sports use different muscles. Like, for example, baseball uses a completely different muscle than basketball. Football uses completely different muscles than basketball and baseball. Like, there's so many different sports muscles that are used in many different sports that I'm hoping that these kids that kind of solidly, especially in the top 25 here for 2023, I'm hoping that they played other sports. I don't want them to stick to just one sport, because if you just stick to one sport, I feel like you're just kind of focusing in, and you really kind of lose, and you might even get burned out. It's a lot of situations where we see players get burnt out and not perform to what they were supposed to be because they got so burnt out of the same sport, playing over and over again. We also got to remember that these are kids, man. Like, these are kids just trying to enjoy their everyday life, trying to enjoy high school before they start to get into the real world, which is college. And even if you don't go to college, you just go to a professional world, whether these guys play basketball or not. These guys are going to have to learn life lessons. And I think you just have to let these kids be kids for now. You have to let them enjoy basketball. Let them enjoy the years of high school. Let them enjoy their life. Because although, for many of us, and I want to be included in this world of being a college coach in terms of being like a camera guy, because that's what I like to do. I like to do film. I like to study, dissect it. But I think you have to let these kids be kids and not get too heavily invested into this. I know that ESPN does this since the beginning, since they've decided to do this metric. But to me, I think what is damaging about the ESPN Top 25 or damaging about ESPN ranking these kids before their junior year is the fact that these lists change dramatically. I'm sure that these lists, there's some players that are on this list from the time they were 10 years old to where they're at now as a senior in high school. But nevertheless, these lists change because there's so many different variables. Some bodies change. Some people get faster twitch muscles. Some people grow and develop slower than others. So it's all about how these kids develop and grow. And I think that some kids, like I said, some kids grow later in life. Some kids are late bloomers. Some kids are early bloomers. And you don't know what's going to happen. This is why I said wait until their junior year, because their junior year is going to be the real change. I feel like whether they're a late bloomer or not, you can start seeing the changes from like their sophomore to their junior year. And I think that that's going to be an interesting situation as we see guys like Bronny, guys like Mikey Williams and Jalen Lewis and DJ Wagner and all these guys on this top 25 list that I'm looking at on my computer. It's going to change dramatically. Like, these kids are now entering their sophomore year. These aren't just, sophomores going into juniors. These are basically freshmen. I mean, I don't know when they finish school, but they finish school relatively soon. They're going to be entering in their sophomore year. And obviously, there's going to be a lot of expectations for Bronny. We know that Bronny is the son of LeBron James, and given the name Bronny and given the name even LeBron James Jr., which is his real name, his full name, his legal name, you know that it's a lot of pressure on somebody. There's a reason why I think Michael Jordan never named his kid Michael Jordan Jr. because it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of this stigma that you have to be better than your dad or you have to be at the equal level as your dad. But maybe that's just not the route he's going to take. Maybe Bronny is going to be better than his dad. Maybe he might be a role player for the NBA. Who knows? But the only way we're going to find out is if you let these kids grow and develop without having these lists, just ranking them from top 25, because I feel like it's damaging to these kids. These kids just want to ball. They don't care about no 25 lists. They don't care about anything. The only thing they care about is winning championships, state championships, that is, especially with California being so big, where you have a North Cal championship, a SoCal championship, and you just kind of battle it out between the California schools. Like, that's a cool thing. That's something that is amazing to watch and see, that there's even that, because California is so big that they have to do that. I think the same thing can be said for these kids, that they just want to ball. They just want to play in their schools, win championships, develop their own legacy, let them grow and become the men that we know that we want them to become. Especially us as coaches, we want these guys to grow into great men who will change the world no matter what, whether they do it in basketball, whether they do it in sports, whether they do it in political stuff, whether they do it in science, whatever they decide to do, because maybe basketball isn't the option for all these kids. Maybe they decide, you know what, I want to take my talent somewhere else. Then we have to respect those decisions. And I just feel like these lists kind of force these kids to be in a box that I don't think that they want to be in. I think Bronny James doesn't want to be in a box of top 25. Obviously, he's going to play basketball. That's in his blood. His dad played very well. I'm not sure about the mom. I don't know if she's even athletic in terms of, like, I don't know if she did any sports besides, maybe high school sports. Maybe she was a college sports player. I don't know. But nevertheless, I think Bronny is going to be in a world of hurt if he's not given the opportunity to just let him be himself. And I think that Twitch is a great way for Bronny to be himself. He's enjoying it. He's playing games that he enjoys. I mean, I would be stressed too if I was Bronny's age, knowing that my dad is one of the greatest basketball players to ever do it, and now people are wanting me to be better than him. Like, that's got to be some tough. That's got to be a tough situation for him. And I think that giving him stress reliefs like Twitch, like just being a regular kid, the fact that LeBron James made sure that his son didn't have a social media account until he was in high school, which I think is very smart. And that's something that I would look into if I was a parent. Like, that's something that I probably would do, because I don't think it's fair to kind of give them that level of toxicity that I feel like social media has on these kids, that it has on my generation as we continue to grow up. Like, looking at social media, having one, it's cool to have, but I think that it's too much of a popularity contest. It's too much of looking at a fake reality than what's a real reality, because you only put stuff out there that you want to put out there. You don't put stuff out there, you know, your faults, whatever you go through, your hardships, you don't put that stuff. You put the success, you put the stuff that makes you happy, the stuff that kind of is you're hiding behind a mask. And I think that, like I said, this is going on a completely different tangent than Bronny James being a top 25 player. But nevertheless, I think what I go back to is this. ESPN top 25, I think it's a cool thing. I think it's cool that ESPN recognizes these players at such a young age. But at the same time, I think that we also have to look at this from this perspective. These kids are kids. They are about 16 years old, I believe, is what they're going to be. They're going to be just going to get their driver's license. Let's let them be kids, let them enjoy their life, and maybe junior year you decide, okay, now we can start recruiting, now we can start putting out our top 25 list. Because I think that's the only time anyone will ever learn more about a player. Because there's some, like I said, there's some players that are late bloomers, there's some players that are, you know, they start out great early and then they burn out later in the end. Like, we don't know. And I think that Bronny James being in the top 25 is a great honor, and it's cool to see that Bronny is in that top 25. But let's also remember that they're kids. Let's not overreact to this sort of to this reaction. The only reason why I'm making this video is because I want to point out that although Bronny James is number 24, and maybe some people thought he should have been higher, and some people may have considered him the best player in his class maybe a couple of years back when he was in 7th or 6th grade. Like I said, there's so many different variables, and I think that we need to take a break on ranking these kids so high or so low, or even make the rankings even matter. Like, obviously the rankings matter in terms of getting you into a program, whether it's Duke, UNC, whatever program you decide to go to, Kansas, Kentucky. The question is going to be, for me, which of these kids is going to put in that work to become the number one player in the class? And to me also is like, how do we also prepare these players that are going to be in the top 25? How do we prepare them to handle the real world stuff when they go into college, whether they go college route, whether they go the G League or Europe? We need to set these kids up for success. And the way that we do that is I'm hoping that these coaches are taking the time to let them know, hey, these are your options. What do you think? Yeah, that's the only way I feel like these players are going to learn. But anyway, guys, let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of Bronny James being ranked number 24? Is it too high? Is it too low? Or do you feel like it's kind of nasty to rank high school players that aren't even in their junior or senior year? I would love to know your comments and opinions in the comment section down below. But anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie, here on The Charge, giving the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. And I'll catch you on the next video. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe. Peace.